I need you to look at something.
What is it?
Read it.
Where did you get that? That?
My daughter found 30 of them in your ceiling, behind the board that was loose. 30 letters, Mama, tied with string.
Adaeze.
Sit down, Ngozi.
The ceiling of her grandmother's backroom ceiling had a crack in it that looked like a river. Adaeze had known that crack since she was 4 years old. She had mapped it every night she slept in that room, every holiday, every Christmas, every time her mother sent her to the village, while Lagos had nothing for a child to do except breathe generator fumes and count passing okadas from the compound steps. She was 10 now. It was a Tuesday in August. Her grandmother was at the market. Adaeze had read both her books. She had braided and unbraided her doll's hair 4 times. She had counted 7 motorcycles and 1 very slow bicycle from the doorway. So she went back inside and looked at the crack, and noticed above the old wooden wardrobe a small dark gap where the ceiling board had come slightly loose. She climbed. Her fingers met dust first, thick, undisturbed dust, then paper. Not one sheet, a bundle, tied with string, wrapped in old black polythene that had kept the dust out but not the years. The paper inside was soft and yellow at the edges, the way paper gets when it has been somewhere dark and still for a very long time. She sat on the edge of the bed and opened it. 30 letters, all in the same handwriting. Careful but not educated. A man who had learned to write properly but not had enough practice to make it effortless. She read the name at the top of the first letter, Mama Chioma. She read the name at the bottom, yours always, Okuchukwu. The first letter was dated 1987, the last one 1995, the year her mother, Ngozi, was 7 years old. She sat very still. Then the compound gate opened. Her grandmother's voice came from the doorway, flat, stripped of everything. Adaeze? Mama Chioma stood with her market basket still in her hand, eyes fixed on the letters in her granddaughter's lap. Her face was completely still, the stillness of a woman who had spent decades making peace with a buried thing and had just watched it climb out of the ground. Neither of them spoke. A goat somewhere outside made a single sound and went quiet. Ask me, Mama Chioma said finally. Who is Okuchukwu? The name sat between them like a third person in the room. He was a man she had loved before everything, before her husband, before the life chosen for her at 19 by a father who did not ask what she wanted. They had met at a church harvest in 1984, loved each other for 3 years in secret, stolen hours at the market, letters passed through trusted friends, a language built entirely from small signs only they could read. His family refused. Hers refused louder. He was sent to his uncle in Kano. She was married within 6 months. She had loved her husband, but she had not stopped loving Ogochukwu, and he had not stopped writing. He never knew about your mother, Mama Chioma said. Her voice had gone somewhere far away. When Ngozi was conceived, your grandfather was in Onitsha. Ogochukwu came back for his mother's burial. She stopped. I am not going to explain what happened. You are 10 years old. Adaeze understood enough. Is he still alive? He is in Unugu. He has been there 20 years. Adaeze looked at the letters. 30 letters, 40 years, a secret sealed inside a ceiling. A mother who did not know who her father was, a man in Unugu who did not know he had a daughter. You have to tell Mama, Adaze said. Mama Chioma closed her eyes. I know, she whispered, but the way she said it sounded like something she had been saying to herself for 30 years without ever once moving towards the door. Ngozi arrived on Friday. Adaze placed the last letter on the table in front of her mother without explanation. She watched her mother's face as she read it, watched the moment the content registered, watched her put it down with extreme care, the way you put something down when it might break or when you are the one breaking. Where did you get this? The ceiling. There are 30 more. Ngozi looked at the doorway, called her grandmother's name. Adaze went outside and sat under the neem tree and listened to the village afternoon while inside the house, her mother and grandmother sat with 40 years of silence and 30 letters spread between them. When Ngozi came outside, her face was controlled in the way of someone managing something enormous in real time. His name is Ogochukwu Obi. He is in Unugu. He has a hardware business, a wife, 3 sons. Pause that carried the weight of everything. I am going to find him. Her eyes said she had already decided. They took the early bus from Jibawu 3 weeks later. The hardware shop was on a street of other hardware shops in a busy part of Enugu. Metal buckets stacked outside. Rolls of wire coiled against the wall, the smell of iron and sawdust in the air. Inside, at a desk near the back, a stocky man in his 60s with close-cut grey hair and reading glasses pushed up on his forehead was talking on the phone, moving his hand in the air as he made a point he was very certain of. Ngozi's hand tightened on Adaze's. Adaze looked at her mother's face and saw it happen, the recognition. Not of a stranger who happened to resemble someone. The recognition of a person for the first time seeing the source of something they had always carried. The nose, the set of the jaw, the way the hand moved in the air while talking. Things you cannot inherit from a man you have never met, unless you have, through blood, through 40-year-old letters in a ceiling, through a Tuesday afternoon when a bored child climbed a wardrobe and changed everything. Ngozi stepped off the pavement. They sat in his small back office, a desk, 3 plastic chairs, a framed photograph of his wife and 3 sons that he turned slightly away from without seeming to have noticed he had done it. She told you, he said. She didn't, Ngozi said. My daughter found your letters. He looked at Adaze fully. I found them in the ceiling, she said, because it felt important that the complete truth be in the room. He nodded slowly, as if a 10-year-old finding 40-year-old letters in a ceiling and pulling a buried family history into the light was exactly how the universe would arrange such a thing. I did not know about you, he said to Ngozi. I want you to understand that first. I know, Ngozi said. What do you want from me? Ngozi was quiet for a moment. When she spoke, her voice was steady and clear and unafraid. I am not here for a father. I am 35 years old and I have lived without one and I have not broken. I am here because I found out that part of where I come from has a name and an address and is still alive. And I could not know that and not come. He looked at Adaze again. And you, what are you here for? Adaze thought about it seriously, the way she thought about things that deserved a serious answer. I found the letters, she said. I thought I should see how the story ends. Something moved across his face, a softening, almost a smile. It doesn't end today, he said quietly. I know, Adaze said, but it starts. 6 months later, Mama Chioma came to Lagos. She sat in Ngozi's sitting room in Surulere, the apartment where the generator hummed constantly and the neighbors upstairs played music too loud on Friday nights, and the kitchen window had been slightly broken for 2 years. ordinary life continued, as it always does after the extraordinary passes through it and leaves everything rearranged. A phone on the center table. Okuchukwu's voice coming through it, careful, finding its way. The third call since Enugu, each one reaching slightly further than the last into the territory of what they were to each other. Still without a name for it, but reaching. He spoke to Ngozi first, then she passed the phone to her mother. Adaize sat in the corner, pretending to read. She watched her grandmother pick up the phone, watched her bring it slowly to her ear, watched her close her eyes and say in a voice stripped back to something young and unguarded and completely honest, Okuchukwu. Just his name, just the sound of it after 40 years. And from the phone, his voice saying hers back with the same weight, the same 40 years folded inside it. Chioma. Adaize was crying before she understood she had started. Some things the body recognizes before the mind catches up. There was no grand resolution. Okuchukwu had a wife, 3 sons, a life built across decades in a direction that had not included Ngozi because he had not known she existed. That life did not dissolve because of a phone call. His family did not know yet. That conversation was still ahead of him. But something had shifted. Something without a name finding its shape slowly in the passing of ordinary weeks. A beginning made of truth rather than pretending. After the call ended, Ngozi took her mother's hand across the table. They sat like that without speaking, while Lagos continued outside the window, loud, relentless, beautifully indifferent to the quiet, extraordinary thing happening in one sitting room in Surulere. Adaize got up from her corner, crossed the room, sat between them on the sofa and leaned her head against her mother's shoulder and closed her eyes. Let everything she had found and everything it had cost and everything it had given settle into her slowly, like red dust after rain, like the end of something, like the beginning of something else entirely. The heaviest things we carry are not the secrets themselves. They are the names we were never allowed to say out loud. Mama Chioma kept that secret for 35 years. Was she protecting her daughter or protecting herself? If you were Ngozi, would you have walked through that door in Enugu or turned back? And Adaize, 10 years old, the one who started everything, do you think she was too young to carry that truth or exactly the right person to find it? Drop your answer below. Let's talk about it. If this story touched you, please like and subscribe. Share it with someone who needs it today. And drop a comment. We want to hear from you. God bless you.